It's headlines and fun, true crime tales and a wild rerun. Bits of news to brighten your day in the latest, wackiest, petty expressway. Scandals, gators, space coast too, crimes that baffle and headlights askew. When the world gets dark, we bring the cheer. Newsy nuggets, the good, the grim, the weird is here.
Hey guys, it's Mo, and trying to bring you all the true crime headlines and weird. I've decided to start looking at true crime in other countries, or at least the weird ones. And this was, labeled under weird, so let's get into it. The gruesome story of Takahiro Shirase, Japan's Twitter killer who found his victims online. Well, I mean, I guess TwitTwat isn't safe even in Japan. Between August and October 2017, Takiro Shishiri killed 9 people, 8 women, and 1 man, most of whom had expressed thoughts of self-deletion on the internet. So I do remember vaguely hearing of this story, but let's get into it. In the digital age, connecting with like minded individuals across the globe has never been easier. While this interconnectedness has fueled innovation, it's also given ride to a brand new breed of predator, one that lurks behind screens, exploits the very networks designed to bring people together. One such predator was Takiro Shasiri, a serial killer from Japan known as the Twitter killer. Now, I am probably butchering these names, so take all of this with a grain of Midwestern pronunciation. Now, between August and October 2017, Shashiri, a young man from Zama, Japan, sorry, used social media to lure vulnerable people struggling with, thoughts of ending things to his apartment. He would there unalive SA and dismember them. His spree came to an end on Halloween when a family member of one of his victims discovered messages that he had sent to his sister. So the killer had sent messages to the sister and had not deleted them, so they kind of found out where she was going. Now, the police then descended on Shirazi's home and found a house of horrors filled with his victim's dismembered body. Today, Takihiro's crimes serve as a reminder of the dark reality that often lurks behind anonymous screens. Now, Takiro was born on October 9th, 1990 in Japan. His childhood was normal by all accounts, with friends and acquaintances of him describing him as a quiet child who was able to socialize with neighbors, according to Radio France Internationale. He was an average student who, enjoyed sports, particularly baseball, and socialized with his friend. The only odd thing about Shirasi in retrospect was his roughhousing. Now, according to a fellow pupil, he would play a quote unquote choking game with his friends that often involved strangling each other. On one occasion, he even passed out himself while playing, this, choking game. After graduating high school in 2009, he found work in a supermarket, but 2 years later, he began to work in the sex industry uh, as a scout for Smex Parlos in Kabushiko, the city's largest red light district. Now, he would try to lure young women to work as ladies of the night in both brothels and bars. However, he quickly gained a reputation as a creepy scout. Like, I don't know how you could be a gentlemanly, looker for ladies of the night, but apparently he was El Creepy Oso. And in February 2017, he was arrested for trying to recruit a young woman to work for a shop of ill repute with the knowledge that she would be illegally forced to work as a lady of the night. Now, that summer, Takiro told his father, "I don't know why I'm alive." He moved into an apartment in Zima and seemingly was bitter about his arrest and depressed about the state of his life. He began to go down a dark path that would lead him to become the Twitter killer. Now, not long after moving back to Zama, Takahiro created several social media accounts, including one with a handle that roughly translates to the Hangsman. Under this handle, he would communicate with dozens of people online who were struggling with ideation and mental health. Now, at first, he would bond with these, people over their shared mental health struggles, but soon his motives would take a darker turn. During his trial, he claimed that his motives were initially financial, that he sought to seduce women and convince them to give him money. I mean, don't we all? One woman did. A 21-year-old named Mizuki Miura sent, he did claim that he feared that she would ask him to repay the money and that if he declined, she would inform the police. Now, he was also fearful that because of his recent arrest, it would lead to more charges. And he stated that at that time, he felt like he had no other choice but to unalive her to keep her from going to the cops about him, basically extorting her for money. I had a hard time making up my mind to do it because I had done other illegal things on a daily basis as part of my work as a scout, and I had to internalize the idea that it's only a problem if you get caught, he said of his later, crime spree. Now, according to the Ashi Shimbun, he choked her, uh, assaulted her in a gross way, and then unalived her in August 2017, according to the prosecution at his trial. He then realized he could make money without working and satisfy his own, sexual desires if he continued to prey on very depressed women online. From that point on, Takahiro went on a unaliving spree that quickly escalated. He killed 8 more people, including a male friend of Mira's who had come looking for her to cover up his crimes. He would dismember his victims, stuff their remains into boxes, and then cover them with cat litter. All of his victims had defensive wounds, proving that they had fought back during these attacks. So, I mean, all of these young women, including one man who lost, his life trying to find where his friend had gone. In October of 2017, Takehiro, his murder spree came to an end. The brother of Akiko Tamura, his final victim, so the brother over here of this particular victim had become concerned about her whereabouts after she vanished on October 21st. He logged into her Twitter account and came across some disturbing messages that she had exchanged with the hangman. Now, he alerted police to what he had found, and on October 31st, 2017, police went to Sharisi's apartment to ask questions about the missing woman. There, they found the remnants of 8 women and 1 man, all dismembered and stored in cold storage containers and toolboxes. Police also found knives, a saw, woodworking tools, and ropes. The jig was up, and the so called Twitter killer admitted to all of his brutal crimes outright. Now, according to reporting from Japanese media at the time, he admitted that he had killed many of his victims as soon as he had met them and dismembered the bodies. With ample evidence against him, uh, Takaro was arrested and charged with the murders of 9 people, 8 women and 1 man, between the ages of 15 and 26. Now, I'm just going to let you know, Japanese prisons aren't the most comfy places, so like, don't do crime in Japan. I think their prosecuting service has a 99% conviction rate. Don't do it. Now, the crimes of Takiro were truly an open and closed case. After his arrest, he admitted to every grisly detail of his murders. Although his defense team would try to argue that his victims had wanted to pass on, that he was thus guilty of only murder by consent, he stated that not a single one of his victims had really consented to, this. Again, evidenced by defensive wounds. On October 1st, 2020, he pled guilty to 9 murders, and 2 months later, he was found guilty and sentenced to death. Now, his sentence was finalized in January 2021. He is currently awaiting his execution. The judge in his case stated that Sharisi was cunning and cruel and fully responsible for his actions. None of the 9 victims consented to being murdered, including silent consent, the judge stated. It is extremely grave that the lives of 9 young people were taken away. The dignity of the victims was trampled upon. Indeed, Takahiro expressed little regret for his actions. When asked if he felt any remorse for his crimes, he demurred, saying, "If they hadn't caught me, I would regret nothing." Well, I mean, at least he's honest about being a monster, but you'd think, you might lie like a little bit, like be a little bit self-preservation, you know, achieving than saying, "No, I mean, I changed my mind." That being said, it is good when people can just realize they're monsters, like, "Yeah, no, I'm just kind of an ass." Now, he once called himself the hangman. He will be hanged to death. In Japan, death row prisoners are not told when they will die until the date of their execution. So they don't have sort of like, it's coming down on this day and this day. I mean, which kinda sounds like, you're just like one of us normal people who don't know when the day it is that we're going to pass is actually going to pass. But definitely, um, what a gross guy. I mean, first of all, lying to women to get them into, seedy red light districts, knowing that they aren't going to be able to, decline the job if they're gotten in there, and then to take people who are struggling with their mental health, not to wanna reach out and form human connection, but to unalive them so you can get your sick jollies off, not have to pay for, ladies of the night and, also get financial gain. Like, all of the evil, I have no issues with this man meeting the ultimate punishment because that's what Japan has decided is the punishment for monster behavior like this. So, bon voyage, douchey McDouchebag. There you go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It is interesting to look how and see how other countries deal with their most monstrous among them. And you rarely hear about things like this coming from Japan. So when this popped up, definitely wanted to get more information about it and maybe see why you decided to become a total douche monkey. That being said, thank you for joining me for more newsy nuggets, headlines, true crime, and all the absurd. And I think this is at least true crime and absurd. Although, there you have it. I will be back with more of these newsy nuggets with the absurd true crime and headlines. And thank you for joining me. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because apparently you have jerk offs out here, going through Twitter to find people that are just as, sad as them to take advantage. And on a serious note, if you are struggling with your mental health, please reach out. There are, hotlines, there are numbers. If you are having, problems, don't take a permanent solution to a problem that is only temporary. And there are plenty of, places to call, people to reach out to. Don't make that, one of those choices. And don't DM anyone who's named the hangman. Things to learn and live by. Bye, you guys.